Hey, what's up, everybody? Najir here at Otakon 2023. I am with one of the featured guests here at day 3. It is no other than Lexi Nieto. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. And how has Otakon been for you so far?
It's been amazing. It's so much fun. This is my first time as a guest. I've been to Otakon before. I came to hang out with Rico, and that was like, seeing how big it is, and I know it's an iconic con. So to be here as a guest is really, really, really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it seems like Rico is the common denominator for folks coming through nowadays.
Absolutely,
we love Rico.
Yes,
Great,
yes.
fantastic guy. He is absolutely part of the Otakon family. Obviously, you can check that interview out on the channel now. But yeah, as a featured guest, seeing your name and looking at your story, I definitely want to go right into something that I saw within your bio, which obviously is very passionate to you, and it was labeled and titled and descriptive as going back to your roots.
Yes.
Show with the Shonen Showtunes.
Yes.
Talk to me about, and I'm coming from this from like almost an ignorant standpoint, from not really knowing. Talk to me about how theater and voice acting, and obviously being an artist as well too, how these worlds all connect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Coming from an acting background and having, the history on the stage, the skill set is almost identical. Just, sometimes I've been talking about in panels and stuff, you have to kind of bring it in because you're used to, projecting for a huge room, or like, I'm very physical, and sometimes you smack the microphone, or, you at the side of the booth or something, right?
Yeah.
But having that training and really knowing how to listen and take direction and being comfortable just reading words out loud, like even doing like staged readings or like cold reads, like you have to be very comfortable with that. And that's always something that I've loved. Like I still believe that theater is like my main thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So being able to combine those, because that's the case with a lot of folks who work in voiceover, is they started in theater.
Okay.
So they just don't have a lot of time to be in a whole rehearsal process and performance process, because a lot of them are directors at the studio, so they're working all the time, and they're coming to conventions on the weekend when performances typically would be.
Yeah.
So what Shonen Showtunes is it's an interview series online, and then I want to start doing shows at conventions, so we can give these actors an opportunity to show that they have a lot of skill in live performance as well as recorded performance in anime.
That is amazing. That's a lot to take in. I'm going to kind of dissect that there. With that being said, too, looking from the opposite end, did you ever imagine that your time in performance arts could lead to such a career in this path?
Yeah, I don't think it specifically hit me until I realized, like, after watching so many interviews with them and panels of them, because that's always what I've been. I would finish an anime and I'd be like, okay, I have to watch every panel under the sun and make sure I know everything about all these actors, because it's always more about the people for me than the content. So I forgot where I was going with that.
We got time.
I got so excited to talk about the actors. Where? Okay, go back. Well, the question was, go back again.
And again from your background and
did I ever thought I would be here? Okay,
yeah.
Got you.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even think about me doing it. See, that's how far it is. I couldn't even think of it right now.
Right.
I didn't realize until watching all those panels again as an adult, because the pandemic sort of brought my resurgence and love of anime back, because all live performance was taken away. So I had to kind of rethink what I wanted to do, at least until stuff got started again. And I was like, I have the same training and experience as all of these people did before they got into this.
Yeah.
What if we tried it? And then my roommate, actually sitting right over here, she came on the journey with me. She came on the journey with me because it's something that we both have a very, very specific interest in. We're like, what if we moved and at least met the people and got involved in the scene, and it's worked out for the both of us, so it's been really exciting.
That's awesome. I'm going to get candid here. I said during the pandemic, and yes, it was very horrendous time in the world, but I said folks who didn't maximize on this opportunity where the world stood still about your craft and your passions, and able to develop something positive out of it, I don't trust you. So I love to hear that, like, you bet on yourself.
Right.
You had a vision, you had a plan, you had a good support team around, and then that led you to the point that's truly the American dream, right there. With that being said, too, like, and what was the actual steps taken? Now, you say you did the research, you network, which is very important. Folks need to realize that, and conventions are an amazing space to do so. But when you had to put boots on ground, when you wanted to start the business, how'd you come up with the name, and then how did you know exactly where you wanted to start it in terms of like the foundation to ultimately where you want to expand to?
Yeah. So Shonen Showtunes was like I don't know if I want to say like gateway or like the way into it, because Rico was the first person I reached out to, because he responds to everybody and he's the kindest ever, and also he's one of my favorite people already. So I reached out to him first, and he was kind enough to let me interview him, and then he was really excited about the project, and then we became fast friends because of that.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Dallas, and we both lived there, and he's been sort of kind of like the best helper that I could have in getting this stuff started. So meeting him truly, I think, was the best thing. Like having him be associated with you is, I think, the best thing ever, because he's the best.
Yeah.
And everybody knows if he is associating with you, you're probably good too.
Yeah.
So knowing him and then meeting other people, just being around him, I think really, really helped me get to where I am now. But also having my own skill set that I worked on in school, because I went to school for musical theater, making sure I had the skill set to back up what my very kind friend would talk me up about, you know?
Yeah.
So making sure all of that was in line, I think, was what sort of laid it out for me, which was very, very, very lucky and grateful.
Maxima, like the epitome of confidence here. Like you're just dripping it.
Me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I promise you, that may be the first and only time that's ever said.
I feel it, man. I'm just calling what I said. Absolutely.
Wow, that's so kind.
So, and then when you kicked it into gear, and by looking at your resume, like again, right in the midst of the pandemic, then you started to realize like there are voice acting opportunities. What was that stage of getting into voice acting during that time? Ultimately, how the recording is done now, because I hear different stories about how folks in their recording process were done, and I'm just curious to know, somebody that was kind of freshly getting into it, your expectations about how it was handled during the pandemic, and then now that we're like out of it, I guess we're out of it, about how I guess you can say it became normalized to the point.
Right. The way it timed out for me was because, like I said, when I was younger, I would watch so many voice actor panels, and I would watch every behind the scenes ever. That's what my roommate and I have talked about so much, is like we connected on the fact that we were the ones all going through all the behind the scenes videos to see like in the booth. So we knew how it worked. We knew the beep, 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 you say your line. We knew all that stuff. We knew the behind the scenes, backstage, whatever. And then with remote recording, that's a whole different ball game. But that was right as that sort of shift was happening in our minds of like, oh, maybe we could do this. And then right as we fell into it, everything had come back.
Yeah.
So I personally had never had to have like a home setup or anything, but of course I'm watching all the videos of how everybody set it up in their house to have an idea of what was going on just in case. But I never, I don't have like the big expensive booth in my house.
Yeah.
Like I have a couple pieces of foam on the closet wall, and like my AT2020, like it's nothing crazy. But we were lucky enough to get into it right because Crunchyroll in Dallas, they have a big new building. They have a whole floor on a new building, so they were excited to have people into that new studio.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. So I've personally only ever recorded like professional things in that studio.
Yeah. Listen, it's a funny question I ask all the time, because when I hear about folks in the process, like I have no shame in saying that my studio is my closet.
Oh yeah.
And I'm hiding from my kids, and I'm in there screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm like, hey, you gotta do it how you gotta do it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Which to me, I think it just really demonstrates like how accessible voice acting is now.
Absolutely.
How remote
Right.
it is.
Right.
And folks are putting out some of their best work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pajamas.
Yes, and you would never know. Yeah. They come into the session with no pants, and you would never know.
Oh, the pandemic. What a wild time.
Absolutely, dude.
So you also have, and I mentioned as an artist, singer.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk to me about music. Talk to me about what motivates you. And for me, music is therapeutic. So I'm wondering, how do you use music in that sense?
Oh my gosh, I could go on and on. This is something. I'm gonna cry even thinking about it. These past few years, like I guess during the pandemic, I had to sort of research, because for a while being in musical theater school, you listen to like music. I only listen to musical theater, and I don't know all the musical theater songs. And then you go to musical theater school, and you're like, I can't listen to it anymore, man. Like I'll listen to like the new thing that dropped, and I'll find my couple favorite songs from that, and I might sing along to a song or two.
Yeah.
But recently, within the past couple of years, I have discovered my now favorite like person of all time. His name is Corey Wong. He's a funk guitarist.
Okay.
And I don't know what it really, I mean, I kind of have an idea of what it is about it. He is very reminiscent of like Earth, Wind and Fire era, that stuff. And that's what my dad always listened to when I was younger. So that feeling of like the brassy funk is very like integrated with my feeling of like euphoria, like being at the pool with my family and they're cooking on the grill. But it's like a more modern, upbeat like take on it. And it's like, it feels like me in music form. And I've had a chance to meet with him and talk with him, and I've done artwork for him, and he's an incredible person. He's an incredible creative. So that, I mean, listening to, like, truly, like what I said, listening to his music makes me feel like me.
Yeah.
So that is, it's very special. If you don't know Corey Wong, check him out. He's the best ever. And also Cody Fry. They've done a lot of collaborations. They're both incredible musicians. I would love to see, I mean, they're all like unbelievably skilled musicians, like musicians.
Yeah.
I really would love to sing with them one day because they're mostly instrumental, but they do have a couple songs with vocals on them, and I would love to get in there, but that's like big dream goal for later. Yeah.
I gotta keep, like, this is a reoccurring theme here, and Rico knows as well too. Listen, here at Big Old Belt Media, we do have our wishes, but we manifest them.
Exactly.
So, like,
Exactly.
I want to. You claim this, so you say I'm going to
get
and perform with them.
I would.
soon.
Yes.
And
yeah.
this will be the archive for this. Right here. Like,
You heard it here first.
Spoiler alert for folks. It's
Oh my
coming
gosh.
for you. So being in the convention space, I got to talk to one of the chairs of the con, and while we're on day 3, so people are still coming in.
Yeah.
We're toting around 40,000.
Wow, dude, that's incredible. That's amazing.
I want to know what, from the panel to the hall, so whether you're going to get food, whether you're going from room to room, what is that feeling of stimulation as you see all these folks around?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's excitement. Like, because we're all here because we all love the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's so cool that we can share in that. And people meeting each other here because, oh, you're cosplaying my favorite character. And you make such a special friendship out of that. Like, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But this being my first time, like, as a guest, of course, there's times where you get overstimulated. You're like, wow, I can't believe there's all these people here. And, like, they want me to write something on this thing and they're going to pay money for that. Like, that's wild. It's the best kind of overwhelming, I think, is because it is truly so much positivity. It's all in good nature. It's all because people are just so excited about this one thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And what about some other goals? You've obviously accomplished a lot.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say.
2 to 3 years. You getting a taste of the convention high, should I say?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of your goals now, leaning towards the end of this year and beyond?
Oh man, I do want to get Shonen Showtunes out there so more people know what it is and get people interested, because it seems like every time that I go and talk about it, people are like, oh, I would love to see that, or oh, I would love to be a part of it. So I think I really just need to like put my bootstraps on and really dive into it.
Yeah.
And then a couple friends of mine, we want to get together and start doing more like hosting and convention planning work and like sort of do the behind the scenes of the actual events, and programming is something that we're really passionate about, specifically with the voice actor guests, because we know so much about them. We really want to bring like new fresh things, so because we have the same kind of questions that kind of get asked every time, and it might get a little monotonous for some of the actors. So we want to try and bring something new and relevant to also the people attending, to have a new, like, we may never have like this hot new show that just came out that maybe isn't being talked about like in the mainstream, but because we are in the community and we work like very closely with all this stuff, we kind of know what the fans would really want to see. So we want to bring like those maybe niche things, but we know people would show up for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that, and I think honestly, this I feel like I'll say it's like a knock towards the press, folks. Like, you got to come a little sharp here. Don't be asking the same question. Well, Leslie going to do the job for you here.
No, it's all good. We want to bring, like, make sure that we have what those people in that room want to see.
Yeah.
But we can make it a more, because there's also so many people, right? So sometimes like timing can get a little tricky in Q&A panels because people might forget their question, and then somebody somebody else may not get to ask their question because somebody else forgot it and they took too much time on the microphone. So having sort of like a conduit between the two to sort of like help out, like we'll ask your questions that you want. We may combine a couple questions to make it a more well-rounded answer from the guest, something like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I spent a lot of times in conventions, and at this point now, if you're asking somebody like Rico or Zeno, like, hey, we got you in the voice acting, it's like, oh, okay. So you waited 20 minutes to ask something that's on the internet.
Oh man, right. It's tricky. It's tricky because like and it's sweet, right? Because it's wonderful that they want to hear the story themselves. Like I asked it this time.
Yeah, that is what it is.
So it's a special thing, but like for a panel to appeal to as many people as possible, to have a sort of like a moderator in between is a good way to make it applicable for a ton of people. And then at the end be like, hey, if you had a specific question that wasn't answered, please go visit their table, and like that way you can have a conversation about it, just the two of you.
Yeah. What has some of your interactions been at your tables?
Oh my gosh.
Some of your should I say memorable moments so far?
Yeah, people have just the kindest things to say. It's very, like I've said several times this weekend now, like the fact that more than just my friends have seen the show, like it's just such an incredible realization. And to have people say like this meant a lot to me is like mind blowing. Because of course, you know, I've watched all the things. I'm like, yes, this performance means a lot to me, but I'm like, I could never do that. I'm never going to be on the other side of that. So it's been truly like mind boggling. Like my brain is melting out of my ears that these people have such kind things to say about this silly little show that I got to do.
Yeah, and to go back to the beginning of this interview, you talk about from again being on stage and having to reel it back. What is some of the health measures you take in terms of keeping your vocals strong and protected, shall I say, and then marginalized, as you mentioned at times, between some of your performances? What are some of the shall I say, the tools you use to keep yourself healthy through all this process?
Oh man, this has been a test of my skills for sure, because I get my voice is quite tired because I wasn't on my game as I usually am, because like breath support is everything. Yeah. Drinking a ton of water is everything. I've not been very good about hydration this weekend. That is on me.
DC weather gonna tell you something if you don't.
Oh man. But yeah, lots of hydration, lots of warm ups. So like, you know, lip trills, blowing bubbles in the thing. Like it's all stuff that you learn in like voice lessons, or just I don't know. Figuring it out as you go. But yeah, lots of hydration, lots of vocal warm ups, and knowing yourself and knowing when your limit is to be like, hey guys, I gotta tap out. I can't.
That's smart. Smart. Don't push the limits here.
Right.
And I think for my final question, I'd be remiss if I didn't say you're absolutely shining with the orange.
Oh, thank you so much.
Was there a measure behind this morning? Did you have a purpose over it, or was it just like, you know, I got this, I'm gonna put this on?
I bought this specifically.
I'm digging it.
I thank you so much. Yeah. This was on clearance at Target. It was like $13. I bought this because I hosted a Chainsaw Man panel back at Anime Frontier last December. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna do like a Pochita like bound. Yeah. So this is like this almost the same outfit that I wore. Yeah. But so I like to match my makeup with whatever outfit I'm wearing. And just like when I had the fit on, I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this again. This is gonna be a repeat fit for sure. Yeah. So
I was gonna interview, but you brought a Target. So let's just restart this for another 30 minutes. Okay. What's the trick to tips and tricks to get out of Target without spending $1,000?
Don't bring your wallet or your phone, because now you can pay with things for your phone or yourself. Just don't go. Don't go to Target. Sorry, this is not an anti-Target. Please go to Target. They're great, but if you're not looking to spend money, don't go to Target. Just don't go.
Leslie, let me give you a second to obviously promote or shout out any of your friends, your peers, and just Otakon itself before we wrap this up here.
Oh my gosh. I mean, everybody already knows Rico. You know where to find him. My wonderful roommate and friend, Kirsty Johnson, who is the incredible talent coordinator. I'm going to cry talking about her because I love her so much. My friend Jacqueline Thomas, who's also going to be with us starting this convention stuff. Go look them up on social media. They're all amazing. I just recently started a show called Reign of the Seven Spellblades, which is coming out on Crunchyroll every Friday. It's like magic school. If you like Harry Potter, you'll probably like it. I think that's it.
And probably a lot more. But that's okay, because her information is going to be in the description below. That way you can keep up with all good things. Support her, show her love. She is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, you're too kind.
Literally wrapping it up for my coverage this year at Otakon, and what a way to go out. Leslie, thank you
thank you, Nigel. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, folks. Y'all, make sure at Otakon next year. You missed out this year. Whoops. But I'll be back. I'm sure you'll be back.
I hope so.
You better be there.
See y'all later.